but I'll say indeed. And greetings unto you, beloved and holy friends. Thank you so much for joining me here again. Another live stream, another moment, another chance for us to actually be ourselves. That's today's intention for me. It's just the question, the feeling, maybe the question and the feeling of how can we be ourselves more? And why is it that we have a hard time being ourselves in certain situations? Let's see. I actually want to read something worth saying again today. This is a long one. Let's read it. It goes, the way of transformation is the way of assuming responsibility for time. For time is not a prison for you. It is that which flows out of your very consciousness. And there is never a place or a time which is more conducive to the way of transformation than the place in which you are and the time that is now. So it's quite trippy to me that we instantly go into transformation talking about being ourselves, because the way of transformation or the process of transformation expects us to become something other. Hey Nova, thank you for joining us again, brother Bear. How are you doing, man? Must be like what, close to or just past 1 a.m. right now, right? Thank you for being here with us. Transformation. Transform by doing this. The willingness to abide where you are differently. The willingness to abide where you are differently. You see, like, this is actually something I was thinking about even before the stream. Like, I've been mulling over this question of how can we be ourselves more, or how can we allow ourselves to be ourselves in our social situations a little bit more without fear of judgment, without fear of, something needs to be changed, even in ourselves. But then at the same time, if we try and think about these things in a way where we try and implement them and change ourselves, try and transform in the way that this thing we're saying kind of suggests as well, are we then no longer ourselves? Is there any point at which we stop being ourselves, fundamentally? Like on a real level, we get born, and then we're this little baby being that is completely fragile, doesn't really have the means to take care of itself. Our parents take care of us. They kind of take us through this upbringing. And then we start basically at the ages of 5, 6 to form these egos. We start to form these understandings that we like certain things and we don't like certain things. And then alongside with these likes and dislikes, we start to get a feel for how it is we are, if you will. And that becomes your ego. Then by the ages of and this is like the Freudian understanding of it. I'm not saying this is the way it is. It's just a narrative, a story for us to follow, to think about. Then it goes into the superego, where you form a moral understanding of the world, and this moral understanding is more encompassing of other people as well. And then that kind of mediates our experience of the world. And in that way, we have already changed through these processes more and more into ourselves. So are we actively, day by day, minute by minute, sculpting away at the thing that we finally, fundamentally are going to be at the end of our lifetimes? And these days are just these moments towards that growth. It's something that's really interesting to me as well, because growth isn't necessarily always linear. We think it is because we experience linear growth basically throughout our entire existences as children. But we also experience, especially as adults, these periods of turmoil and uncertainty about ourselves and about our place in the world. And am I doing things the same way? Am I doing things poorly now? We create these narratives that make us feel inadequate, in this moment. And in those type of moments, it can be very difficult to feel like you're actually growing, because now in this moment, regardless of the amount of growth you've been through, you still have this imposter syndrome feeling, this doubt of yourself. Oh, I don't know how to do this. I don't know how to be a happy individual. I don't know how to be an entertaining individual. I don't know how to do these things. And you believe it in that moment. And maybe that's what really dictates our growth. It's just how we continue shaping that story. I'm gonna read some now. Sorry, it's alright. I tried all day today. That was my aim, and I took 4 Vanase pills. Maybe I shouldn't have done that, but after this stream, I'll go to bed. How are you? Every person has a different experience, and that's crazy in my opinion. It is Nova. It is crazy. I'm doing well, brother. Thank you for joining us, man. Genuinely. I'm missing a few comments on this side as well. When it rains, and Jovan, my beloved friends, the first ones I see. Because we are constantly changing right down to our very selves, and literally, when it rains, quite literally. But are we changing into ourselves? Those cells that are constantly being replaced. If we're in our old state, in that question as well, like if we're 80 and we're no longer as fast as we used to be and we don't remember everything, technically we've lost memories that make us up, right? But we're still going to be able to point at when it rains, it pours, at Jovan, at Meltmore, and be like, oh, that's them. Years later. But on an internal level, on a personal level, you might not even feel like the same person. So the person that they're pointing to, or at least the person that they think they're pointing to, might not even be the same person. Soon we'll grow and be really old. Yeah, dude. We're getting old right now. We're dying right now. We just have to live to celebrate that. Maybe it's hard to be ourselves because we're constantly changing, forming. You beat me to it when it rains. Thank you, Jovan, for sharing the same. Like it's just more synchronicity, if anything. Maybe it's difficult to be ourselves because we don't even know who ourselves really is. Like maybe we have a hard time with that question because we think other people know. And it creates this sense of, oh, I'm doing something wrong because I don't know. Maybe. When are the best and only you are the best and only you there is. But that person is ever so slightly different person than yesterday. Literally. And that keeps happening. It happens moment by moment by moment by moment. It's quite surreal, because especially right now when it rains, I feel, I don't know if limited is the right word. I feel today like I can be in a judgmental state of myself. I'm not going to be, but I feel like this would be one of those days where I could be, if you will. I'll be back in a little bit. I'm just going to go and get some things. Sorry for forgetting. Oh! What? Stop being scared. What's wrong? I forgot my Garrick stuff, so don't laugh. Freaking Christian's laughing at me. I'm going to light a candle for our friends who are not here right now. If you feel like you're not being yourself, you're not any other time when you're not actually thinking, when you're not actually thinking about it, you're being yourself. That's a good point, Eat Red Meat. So, as soon as you become aware of the physical self, if you think about yourself in the physical sensation, that's when you lose the real self that you are. Because instead of being the observer, the fundamental observer that you are underlying all of it, you collapse all of that awareness into a single body, which makes you no longer yourself. Is that what you're saying? When it rains? Oh, not when it rains. Eat red meat. That sounds freaking trippy, dude. I like it. Ermius Plur. Hey, Johan. Dank je, enjoyment, man. Sylvia Leafstone, yeah. Maybe it's hard to be ourselves because we see better qualities in different people and it creates this sense of doubt and irregularity. What a good point that is, actually. Ermius Plur. No, that's a really good point. But it's not even that sometimes. You know, you can do the opposite as well. If you're in a group of friends or in a social situation that, like this, I don't know how to say this without sounding pretentious. For instance, let's say this social situation, everybody is really into drinking, and that's like the pastime, and there's a lot of like hookah smoking, and you're expected to do all of these things together as well, otherwise you're not really allowed to be a part of the thing, right? So in that social situation, you might not be able to be as fully you as you normally can be. You know, maybe in that specific social situation it wouldn't be accepted. That'll be our intention. Acceptance. If we want to be ourselves, we have to accept ourselves first. So, like, because you're in this social situation, and this social situation might be a little bit of a certain frequency, if you will, you have to kind of tune into that frequency yourself as well. And as soon as you do, you lose the frequency of you that you usually are or can be. Is that making any sense? Do you friends feel like you can agree with that, or contribute or share something in your experience on that? The opposite of that is thinking you're great and better than others. So it's better to keep not too much of an ego. You're not better than most. No one's better than they're better than you. I'm not exactly sure, but yeah, I'm not. That's exactly what I'm saying, Nova. I'm not trying to say I'm better than anybody. I'm talking about the energy that's expected to be participated in. Like, you can, I guess, have certain conversations, but certain conversations aren't going to go off as well as others in certain situations. And in that way, we are expected to change in order to fit into that social situation. It's not about being better or being worse than anybody. It's about being differently than what you normally are. That's the point we're trying to get at or talk about. Man, just hit the nail on the head, bro. Yeah, in between the sense of self. Thank you for joining me. I'm happy you appreciate it with me, man. Adrian is coming over tomorrow. We have a friend that came over from the Western Cape. He's living in Pretoria right now. Johan is also here. We're going to have a bit of a get-together soon. Just an example. I get you, my friend. I get you completely. Thank you, Nova. I appreciate you sharing with us. Dwarf! Hey to you, friend. Thank you for joining us. Also, good morning. Good morning to you, Eat Red Meat. Professor Goose here. He says, alive and loved. My bright, shining friend, I see you. And it's a blessing to be here in the moment, seeing your light. Thank you, Professor Goose, for sharing your light with us as well, Brother Bear. I appreciate it so much. Dropped dimes this morning. I don't know what dimes are, unfortunately, mixed to death. Dimes? Dime bags? I'm not exactly sure. Do let me know though, mixed to death. I'm very curious. Hello, friend! Toasty Malosty. Thank you for joining me, Brother Bear. When it rains says, one person may point and say Estia, and others say Meltmore, and they are both right. Or are you neither? Or are neither right? So technically, both of them would, in that representation of it, be wrong, because both of them would try and use a word to encapsulate me, right? They would be pointing, so none of them would technically be right. Yeah, and in that case, definitely when it rains. Thank you for bringing that, actually. You know, in that way, it can like, I don't know if it's exactly the same, but this is what it makes me think of. How other people can expect us to be something, and then if we're not that, they'll let us know that we're not being ourselves. How about that? How's that for a trip? Other people see you doing something and then you're not being yourself for doing that. And you're like, what the fuck? What does that even mean? I'm literally just being myself right now. Now you're telling me that whatever I'm doing, just because it doesn't fit your narrative of me, isn't me? Same thing with names, technically. But we can't choose for ourselves. We can't choose for ourselves. Man, I feel pretty confused today. Thank you for joining me, friends, spending time with me. Just example. Or are they both combined? Technically, all of it is combined. Like, they will be pointing at me and being like, oh, melt more. But behind their finger will be all of the universe, and around me will be all of the universe. So, in that way, yes. But then he'll be pointing at himself as well, finally, in the grand scheme of things. A good friend will accept you no matter what. I agree completely, Brother Bear. It is why in Hinduism there is a stage in life where you leave your community or go and spend it on your own. The point at which to get away from all the expectations and the people, the places that you're in. Dude, yeah, absolutely. And I think that is a very important part to anybody's growth as well, is to kind of go somewhere where they're going to be a little bit alone. It's not easy, but I think because it isn't easy, it's something that really helps you grow. Again, this thing that we've been saying, into yourself, you know, more into yourself, whatever that means. You become a little bit more comfortable, you have to rather, become a little bit more comfortable with your own time, your own psyche, your own input, you know, because one of the things that we also do is we become very prone on blaming the world, blaming other people for our personal ailments or the things that we feel and experience. So by spending time with ourselves, genuinely spending time with ourselves, it's going to be this absolute perfect example for you of like, oh, this is you, this is what you think sometimes, this is how life can be just with you sometimes. And that can be a difficult reality to face, you know, and we have to. We have to be able to be comfortable with that stuff as well and be able to move past it in a realistic manner. Whatever that means. Grow again, become ourselves in a different direction by not being ourselves another. Oh, no one's perfect unless you're Jesus, so accept yourself as you grow old. Even Jesus lost his temper. Yeah, here we go. I was thinking the exact same thing. Thank you, Jan. No one is perfect. That's the one blessing of life. Also, Estienne, give me a number between 156, 44, Brother Bear. 44 every time. My God is perfect. Then God is perfect. And that's what I'm saying. No one is perfect. Friend, Nova, you're God, dude. You're God, you know, with your divine individualized expression of that godness. And it's a good thing, because if we were all of it, we would have still wanted to be all of it, but clearly we didn't want to be all of it, so we're what we are right now. How did your day go yesterday? It's been a little bit in a state of turmoil to acceptance, friends. What's cardness? 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 I have absolutely no idea. Cardness. Did I say cardness somewhere? I keep forgetting things, and then I keep want to go and get them, and I keep telling myself then, stand up, but I'll be back in a second again. Yeah, you said cardness. Kindness, maybe? I don't know, dude. I can't remember myself saying cardinal. Stop being scared, man. Okay, ashtray forgotten. I'm gonna put it down. Our own perspective, perceived self, is drastically different than the subjective third party. Yeah, that's very true as well. The way that other people see you is a whole trip as well that I don't actually let myself get too involved in because it has too many variables in it. You just said kindness. Oh. Individualism. Individualism? Dude, nobody. I feel like I'm missing you today, bro. It's not individualism. I think the word for it is monoism, actually. That suggests that there is a oneness to all of them. Not necessarily an individuality to it, but like a unity to it. It's confusing. I clicked for intention and got existentialism. I'm sorry what it rains. I'm sorry. We're gonna try and be in a state of acceptance with the existentialism. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Being ourselves is a little bit of an existential question right in itself. So thank you for bearing with us. Acceptance is the intention. What does being ourselves mean? And how do we accept that? A little bit more, maybe. Leonardo says it's difficult. Individualism means, let me know, never please. It's difficult to be ourselves sometimes because people tend to want to be liked or to be agreeable to avoid conflict. Being oneself is polarizing because as individuals, we will have differing opinions. Leonardo, thank you for joining us, Brother Bay. And you beautifully said what I tried to say as well. You know, I was just making an example of a certain social environment. Yeah, wanting to be liked, avoiding conflict, putting a persona up, a version of ourselves forward into the world that is maybe more acceptable. And that is something that concerns me as well. You know, how much of ourselves are we willing to give up in order to be accepted? Should we be giving parts of ourselves up in order to be accepted, or should we find people that accept us just the way we are? I feel maybe the latter might be it. If you could see that I see when I see you seeing me, you'd see yourself so differently. Believe me. Brady dread me. Don't do that. Is it possible to avoid the darkness your entire life? No, it's not possible to avoid the darkness for a second of your life, Nova. Maybe if you were alive for 4 seconds stretched of the womb. Dude, the womb was darkness. Technically, we get born from darkness into light. So right now you're experiencing light. And you've already experienced darkness. If you don't see the darkness, you can't see the light. One knows. There we go. I know the self-doubt that runs inside your mind. I know the self-doubt that treats you so unkind. Eat meat, you're freaking melting my heart. And just like you start to rhyme, we have a cable show up as well. It says, lack of trust in the self, lack of trust in the universal insight is why we struggle being ourselves. Also, because we are unwilling to bear the full weight of creation socially. For example, flirting with someone means that a stranger might call you a flirt. You are right, Henry Dawkins, no self-opinion. Thank you for sharing that as well, you read me. Not only that, so... Man, you know what, I'll share a little bit more about what happened yesterday, because I've been thinking about it, I meet this friend again, and we're sitting around this table. She brings the chair closer to mine. Our legs touch. She puts her leg over one of my legs, and I'm in this situation now. And the thing I'm thinking about, first and foremost, is I don't know if you know, the what this implicates, this is something that you don't do lightly. At least in my personal opinion. Like I'm almost, I'm respectful to the point where I hurt myself, to my own detriment. I'm respectful. Like I will not touch another person unless it's very clear that that is what is expected almost. And then something like that happens the other way around, and I genuinely want to ask them the question is like, what does this implicate? You know? Do you know the implications that it has for me? And it's difficult in that way to be ourselves as well. Because if you're going to be yourself completely, that might be seen as something that is, again, undesirable, unpopular opinion. I begin my journey to Lagos, Nigeria, this Saturday. Flight from Dallas, Texas to Washington, D.C., then straight over to Lagos. Professor Gu. Good luck, friend. Safe travels to you. Are you going to have access to the internet in Nigeria? I'm guessing they would be. Like, more, do you have a plan to get like a SIM card? Have you been there before? I think you've been there before. What's your plan? Tell me more. I'm like, my mind is brimming with questions. Marvin is here as well. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Or the girl would flat out reject you. Like, I'm not too concerned about that, no. But maybe a part of myself is a little bit concerned about it. But it's just, I was literally sitting with Christian. We were in the middle of a restaurant, and then this thing happens. And I'm like, goodness, whoa, whoa, relax. I was not ready for this. If you never escape the light, then you can also never escape the dark. Marvin, thank you for joining us, brother. That's beautiful. You were scared of rejection to at least some capacity. Not really, Nova. I think maybe I'm more scared of expectation than I am of rejection. Actually, genuinely. Like, rejection is something I've dealt with a lot in my life. I'm okay with that, but expectation, that's a whole other ball game. Rendering the podcast, and I'll talk to you later, my friend. Love you, freaking Johan. Thank you, man. Love you lots, dude. For example, flirting. I am in the moment, and that pets on the many. And that pets on many not always have the same outlook as the one I was even 1 hour before. It's crazy to me how we can learn something, we can get a bit of information that can change us as well, change the way we perceive the world, change the way we talk to other people, change the way we do things. It's a very powerful transition, and it's technically just a bit of information that changes that. Do goldfish have souls? I mean, fundamentally, I believe that the experience the goldfish has, seeing its fish tank, seeing little pebbles on the wall, on the surface tension of the water, going up and eating those little thingies, tasting them, getting some dopamine for having eaten something. That experiencer fundamentally is soul, in my understanding of things. So yes, I would say goldfish has soul as well. To prevent that, you stay in your shell, refuse to accept your desires. You're completely right, Cable. Very much so. Also, your close ones might not agree with your creations. For example, my ex and my parents did not fully understand what I was doing with my art, and they don't need to, Brother Bear. And I was unable to explain it to them either. It can be difficult, I feel like I'm very much in the same place in my life right now as well, Cable. But we don't need to explain anything. Instead of explaining, I just tell them to watch. It's like, just watch. I'm just as confused as you are. Let's see. Just watch. We'll get there. At that point, are you more someone with desires and wants to flirt with someone that wants to stay in their shell? I think, another question to ask yourself in that context as well is, do you think it's fair for you to expect another person to come out of their shell? Is it going to be something that serves them as well, you know? And I think that's the question I'm asking myself. It's like I don't want someone to throw their shell away and then be spiky myself, if that makes sense. Uh, yeah, maybe. Me personally, I don't care. Why not, Nova? And you think if you cared, you would care more? Why don't you care, Fred? Tell me. Ooh, get together. Yeah, definitely, actually. Thirsty Velocity. Thank you for the freaking starstruck goo. I appreciate you, man. Shark Duck is here as well. Says good seeing you, Mel. I always appreciate the positivity that you share. Thank you, Brother Bear, for sharing positivity right back here with us as well. Genuinely, it means a lot. How have you been? If you accept it and express yourself, yes. If you stay inside, you're going to open up. Other people's expectations are brutal. There we go. Now Cable knows what I'm tripping out about. Not, I'm not scared though. I'm just concerned. I'm very concerned. Lol, dropping dimes is slang for assists, pass in basketball. Okay, thank you. Thank you for letting me know, Mix. Go and slay, dude. Go and get those exercises in. Go and play those sports. About love. Well, I see no point and I don't want to waste my time. They might not like me. It's not even about love right now. For me, no. Okay. I think my stream dropped for a second on the YouTube. And with it, my train of thought as well. About love. Ways, might like. It's gone, oh. Gone, bro. Lost it as well. No, it's fine. Thank you. No, yeah, it says it's live again. If you accept dropping down other people's expectations, they turn you into someone or something you're not at all. Again, the whole how we can be ourselves, how we are ourselves, and then when it comes to other people's expectations, you have to change the self that you are. And maybe that could be for the better, you know, maybe that's a good thing. It's so difficult because in that context, there's a part of you that has to accept that the yourself that you are isn't the best yourself that you can be. And there's also, you know, something to be said about self-acceptance in that equation as well. Because we can't just forever be unsatisfied with ourselves. Maybe it's not about being unsatisfied with ourselves. Maybe it's just about loving ourselves enough to want to seek out growth. And expectations from another person can induce some of that growth. But maybe it wouldn't be genuine or sustainable if you don't find a way to do it for yourself. You can choose. So there's both and neither at once. So yeah, ground equal is here again. I've always enjoyed how you drink from your cup. I hope you sip your rooibos like that too, fella. Now I'm watching myself drinking water. Thank you. Thank you for making it weird, ground equal. I've never... Well, I'm just drinking water. I tilt the cup, you know, and then because of gravity, the water level eventually flows over the edge because I tilt it downwards. And then I make sure to have my mouth there so the water has somewhere to float to. Damn it, now I'm overanalyzing how drinking works. Stop. Thank you, Ground Equal. I appreciate you, friend. That was stimulating. If you don't change, then nothing will happen. But you can't not change as well, Nova. You know, that's not even an option. Like, if there's no way for you not to change. No way. Absolutely zilch. Absolutely no way. Like, even if you don't do anything, don't see anything, don't hear anything, don't feel anything, don't eat anything, for the next week, you're still going to be a different person at the end of the week where you know, eventually pass from dehydration or whatever. We cannot cease changing. We literally cannot cease to change. Not really made. It depends on the choice that you make. If you are open, you're willing to open and share. If you don't, you're not. The Schrodinger's cat here. Man, I'm worried about this YouTube thing. It's dropping again. Is it like glitching a little bit on the other side now? Maybe a little bit. I was just typing that reference. Thank you for being so synchronous as well. Hey, ladies here, how's it going? Going pretty well, dude. We're talking about being ourselves. Like, I would actually be really curious about your input on this thing. I feel you are very much an individual that has allowed themselves to be themselves. You know, has allowed themselves to express, to not worry about the opinions of others, to be the metalhead, you know, dude that makes metal. Regardless, dropped. I'm checking if the internet is actually working. It's like really connecting longer than I would like it to. I think our internet might be whacked out. Yeah, it seems that way. I'm probably just speaking to the void. Wow, you're back. Am I? Like, I think the internet is a little bit spicy on this side, man. That is what I meant basically. If you don't take action, nothing will happen unless you make the first step forward. But it really depends. Yeah, I think we're going to end the stream here. I think this is a little bit spicy. Something is amiss. I'm sorry, friends. Yeah, your stream keeps buffering. Our internet is a little bit wacky. Thank you, Nova. Thank you, friend, for sharing this space with me. I love you so much. I look forward to seeing you all again tomorrow. Hopefully the internet is better by then. Nova. Cheers, my dude. Love to you, man. Love you.